Oh goodness, I fell in a hole already. It's a good start. Oh good, what's happening? I appear to be on very uneven ground. That's not helped very much. Oh dear. Well, this is a good start, isn't it, people? Okay, so it's a good start to the video that I was not planning on shooting today. So, welcome back to the messy garden, everyone. Welcome back to another video. So this is not actually the video I was hoping to post this month. What I was hoping to post this month was a greenhouse refurb video, which, as you can see, has clearly not happened. We have not done any work in here at all. We have gathered some materials, I'm not gonna lie, there is some materials out there I've gathered. But basically the weather's been so rubbish the last while, like for months now. It's been so rubbish. Every time we've had time to actually get out here and do any kind of work, the weather has completely written the day off. I mean, we had what, Storm Bert, Storm Dara. I can't even remember what was in between those. There must have been an A and a C as well. I don't even know what they were, but you know, it's just been a little bit relentless. Like every day off we've had has been a complete write-off. So unfortunately, nothing has actually happened in here. So I can't show you that video yet because I haven't finished shooting it yet. But what I thought I would do instead is do a little bit of seed talk with you guys. So I've kind of been in the process of sorting through some of my seeds. Be completely honest with you, I did a dumb thing last year. So this is my box of seeds. This is my overflow box of seeds. And in here, it's not actually Snuggy Hoods. They just give out really useful bags that I use for carrying stuff in. But in here is a brand new bag of seeds that I have yet to open because they're going to be replacing a lot of what's in here, because I very stupidly left this box in this greenhouse during the middle of summer several times. I don't even know how long it was in here for, and so yeah, a lot of my seeds got cooked. I did try planting some of them. I think that's why I had such bad luck with pumpkins last year. I think I cooked all my pumpkin seeds, definitely, along with a load of other stuff. I know some beetroot seeds in there are rubbish as well. So I actually did start some seeds. So up here, I actually did some experiment seeds. So these are some brassicas. I'll be honest, I can't actually remember what's what. I know I did some cabbages, some turnips, I think some kale as well, although the kale does not look like it's come up. So I think these are the, oh no, these might be the Swedes actually. I don't think I did turnips in the end. I think I did Swedes. So these should be Swedes, which are looking annoyingly leggy, even though they're in a greenhouse, probably because there's so much sludge and muck up here blocking all the light. So yeah, these are going to be my cabbages, these are going to be my Swedes. But I did also plant in these other pots, I had some beetroot and some kale. My brain isn't working. I had some beetroot and some kale, and none of those seeds, I fell in the hole again, none of those seeds came up at all. So all of those seeds that did come up were new seed that I purchased after the frying of the seed box in the greenhouse incident. So I think in conclusion, anything that's in that box I should really treat as ruined. I mean, I might just go ahead and just throw them out in the garden somewhere if I've got a space and see if anything comes up. But from what I've seen so far, I think they are a little bit screwed, basically, because I'm an idiot human being and I forget things all the time. So yeah, basically most of what's in here, oh dear. Oh no, I have done some sorting actually. So these are all good carrot seeds. I've sorted out all the old carrot seeds. Yeah, see, I have done a little bit of this already. These need going through. The beetroots, like I said, definitely need going through and sorting out. But yeah, as I was thinking about doing that, I thought, yeah, let's go ahead and pick up the camera. We can turn this into a video. And then I thought, why don't I just go ahead and talk to you guys about what I'm planning on growing next year? Because I think it's going to be a little bit different to what I've done in the years past, actually. So as you can see, looking at all my little labels along here, I've tried a lot of stuff. And I've tried a lot of different varieties of a lot of different stuff. So, I mean, in this box alone, I think I've got 4 or 5 different varieties of turnips. we don't even really eat turnips. I mean, we'll chuck a few in a stew every now and then, but I'll be completely honest, most of the turnips I ever grew got fed to the pig. And the pig is no longer with us, so I don't really have like a backup plan for getting rid of excess vegetables anymore. Obviously the horses can eat some of it, but you've got to be careful how much of these things you're feeding them. Hopefully we might be able to get the chickens sorted next year, although I don't know if that's going to happen next year. It might end up being the year after. I just want to make sure we're like properly ready before we get them. So yeah, basically I don't have a living waste disposal unit anymore. And so, I don't know, I'm just going to try and be a bit more mindful this year of what I'm planting so that we don't end up growing a load of stuff that we're not going to eat, so we don't end up having loads of waste. I mean, we didn't have the waste before, like I said, because the pig ate it, but we don't have her now, so it will be wasted, unfortunately, unless I give it away. So I think I'm going to have a bit of an overhaul of what I'm planning on growing. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my brand new bag of seeds that I got that I haven't actually opened yet. This is all good new seed that I'm really looking forward to growing this year. Everything that's in this bag and everything that's in this bag is kind of tried and tested stuff that I really like. I mean, there's a few bits and bobs in here. I mean, that's just spring onions. I don't have the best luck growing onions, but I really wanted to try maybe spring onions. But yeah, we've got loads of pumpkins in here. I basically done like a random pick and mix of pumpkins. Oh, there's some beans as well. So pumpkins is definitely something I want to be growing more of next year. Yeah, we really like our pumpkins. We really like our courgettes. I definitely want to be growing lots of them next year. They're just really tasty and yummy. I like roasting like pumpkins and squash and stuff, and we like do soup with them and things like that. Mum loves her courgettes. I love the courgettes. We'll eat those raw as well, like we'll have them in salads. So I definitely want to be growing loads of them. So that is definitely going to have a big space in our garden. We're definitely keeping hold of the pumpkins and the squash. I'm also going to be having another go at growing watermelon. So I did get some more watermelon seeds. Now, I actually did manage to grow watermelon this year. Unfortunately, though, the rats ate them all, which is very annoying. Very, very annoying. But by the time they're growing next year, this greenhouse will be rat-proof. They will not be able to get in here. And so hopefully we might actually be able to get to enjoy the harvest. And I've actually grown these for a couple of years now, and I seem to be doing better and better every year. Like, they're growing bigger and healthier. So I'm really excited to try these again this year. This is going to be the third year I've tried growing them. It's the Sugar Baby watermelon. They do need to grow in a greenhouse. I tried doing melons outside and it didn't work at all, like not even doing the baby ones. So yeah, we're definitely going to be growing watermelon again. Oh, and some more pumpkins. I said I've got so many varieties here. I've got strawberry crown. I've not grown those before. I think I've tried and the rats got them all. I've never grown that before. Turk's turban, I've never grown that before, baby boo. Basically, I just picked the coolest looking pumpkins that they had on their website and picked a load of them. The Queensland Blue, I've grown those before. They're really tasty. They're like a really big, like fleshy, delicious pumpkin. So they're really, really nice. I really like them. What else have we got in here? So we've got our pumpkins and our melons. We're definitely doing that. So beans. I tend to grow like an assortment of climbing beans. I've tried bush beans before, and I don't know, like they grow well here, but I don't feel like you get as many on a plant, and I feel like you don't get as much out of the space. Because like if you're doing runner beans, you grow them up and they take up a very little amount of floor space, and then you can plant other stuff at the bottom of them. Whereas when you're doing bush beans, I feel like you get a lot of, you don't get as much food for the space as you do with climbing beans. And they taste the same. Like, I don't know if they're going to taste any different, but they taste literally exactly the same to me. So I always do like a mixture of like French beans or different ones. That's a mixture, so I don't know what varieties are in there, but I just went for all the different colours. Like you get the yellow ones, the blue ones, the green ones, all sorts of different colours. I like colourful food. And I will do some like traditional runner beans as well. I think I've got some runner beans in here. Yeah, we've just got some runner beans as well. They're Moonlight, those ones are called. I can't remember if they're the ones that have the red flowers or the white flowers. Can't remember, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, we're definitely going to grow beans. We do need to tone it back on the beans though. I always grow too many of them and then we get sick to death of them. And then we just stop eating them and they end up going to seed on the plant, and then we end up feeding wildlife with them, which is not what we want to do. So I definitely need to tone back the amount of beans I'm growing this year. And I'm thinking I want to try and grow them together with the squashes, like maybe do kind of like a sisters, not quite the three sisters, because what is it they would do? They would do corn, beans and squash together, wouldn't they? For the three sisters method. But I've not had much luck with growing corn. Like, I think I want to have another go at it. I can't remember if I bought any sweet corn to grow or not. I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. Beetroot. Oh no, I did get some more sweet corn to try. I got the golden bantam to try. So maybe I will do like a three sisters thing, but I'll do it under a trellis so the beans have got more space to spread out. I did do that a few years ago and it was really successful. As in, everything grew really well, but the corn just, I don't know if our soil is particularly agreeable with growing corn. It never tastes very good, and it just, I don't know, maybe we're harvesting it wrong, because I have read about like the starches in corn, if you have to harvest them in a certain way and eat them in a certain amount of time. Well, I don't know, I need to do more research into the corn thing, but yeah, I'm thinking at the very least, we'll do the two sisters. We'll do the beans and the squash together, because they can grow up the same trellis together and they can kind of vine all around each other. I might put the corn in there, I might not. We'll see when we get to next year, because, you know, I might change my mind by then. One thing I'm definitely not going to be growing on the topic of beans is I'm not going to be doing broad beans again. So I'm not going to be doing bush beans, and I'm not going to be doing broad beans. I don't know what I'm going to do with these broad bean seeds, actually. Seeds, I meant to say. It wasn't even a word, I made a word up there. But yeah, I'm not going to be bothering with these again. They actually grow really well here, annoyingly, but we just don't seem to eat them. I don't enjoy them very much. None of us seem to enjoy them very much, so it just seems a bit pointless growing them for them to just sit on the plant and rot. Which, like I said, is frustrating, because they grow quite well here, but it just seems a little bit pointless, really. So, other stuff I've got in here, I've got my broccoli. So, brassicas, I'm going to be doing all the brassicas. I love my brassicas. We eat lots of cabbage, broccoli. I've had pretty good success with growing broccoli here, or purple sprouting. I think it was technically the purple sprouting that did really, really well. And we get like 2 or 3 harvests a year off of it, which is really cool. And I've actually got a plant out there now, which is shockingly still alive, despite the fact that it's been transplanted like 5 times now. And it's got fresh green shoots on it, and it's already flowered twice this year. And it looks like it's getting ready to go again. Actually, it'll probably go again like early spring. But yeah, the purple sprouting grows like crazy here. That plant I've got is like 3 years old now. And I just keep digging it up and moving it, and it kind of sulks for a bit, and then it grows back. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I didn't know purple sprouting could do that. Like, I didn't know it was, what's the word I'm looking for? It's, is it a perennial? Yeah, perennial. I didn't know broccoli could be a perennial, but apparently it can be. Well, that one can be anyway. So yeah, we have quite good success with that. I want to grow more of that, definitely, but I want to figure out a way of doing it more strategically. Like, I'm trying to think of ways. So last year, when I actually had a good gardening year, I kind of by accident had this really messy bed that ended up working really, really well. And it was kind of like the bed that I threw all my leftover plants in, that I didn't really have a specific space to put them in. So I ended up with a couple of broccoli plants in there, a couple of tomato plants, a couple of peppers, and I ended up with loads of carrots and beetroot all growing around the bottom of it. And it was literally the healthiest bed in the entire garden. So the broccoli obviously grew up tall and kind of like canopied over the other stuff. And then the peppers kind of like bushed up underneath the broccoli plants, and they seemed well happy with that. And then the tomato plants kind of like, I didn't tie them up or anything. I didn't stake any of this stuff. So the tomato plants kind of like sprawled through all of that, like through the broccoli and the peppers. And then obviously I had the root vegetables, the carrots and the beetroots at the bottom of all of that, taking up the ground space. And everything in that bed was so happy. We had no pests in there whatsoever. Just worked really, really, really well. And so I'm thinking I want to try and recreate something like that again this year, like utilizing the different like growing levels of the plants. So I want to try and be smart with my broccoli this year. I might try and do the same thing again, to be fair. I might try and do like broccoli. I don't know if I want to do the peppers again though, because I mean, that year that we did the peppers outside, it was a really hot summer. And then this summer was more wet and slightly more miserable. And so the peppers would not have done very well outside. So I don't know, I have to think of some other stuff. Like maybe we could you do like maybe broccoli and then like maybe cabbages underneath, or would the two brassicas maybe be competing for the same nutrients? I don't know. I don't know if that would work as well, but I need to think about it and I need to come up with some kind of companion planting plan for that to utilize my space. But I definitely want to do that again. That worked really, really well for us. So yeah, broccoli definitely on the list. Cabbages definitely on the list. Don't ask me for varieties because I'm really not that fussed. As long as they grow relatively fast, stuff can take a little bit of time to grow around here. I think possibly down to the soil, the weather. So I like the faster growing varieties, or in the case of the purple sprouting we've got, that's one that crops like multiple times in a year. And then will apparently just carry on living for multiple years after that. So that is really useful because you kind of like get a lot of food for your work out of that. But I don't like these really like slow growing brassicas. They seem to get eaten by the slugs and other stuff before we ever get a look in on them. So it's a little bit frustrating. And kale as well. I definitely want to grow some more kale. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that all the kale in this box is fried. I think I need to put that in the bag of questionable goods, but I'm pretty sure I bought myself some more kale. If not, there might be some in the other bag. I'm sure I bought kale. Oh, I got some spinach. Oh, see, I wonder if that would work underneath my broccoli idea. So that could be like another low-level plant, possibly. Now that's an idea. That could work. Maybe do like broccoli and then spinach underneath, and then maybe like root vegetables underneath that, because this is one of the larger spinach varieties. It's the perpetual spinach. They grow quite big, but it won't be as big as the broccoli. That's an idea. The juices are flowing now. The brain is thinking of these things. I'm sure that I bought some kale and I can't find it. What's that one? Cucumber. Okay, so we're definitely going to be growing these again next year. That is the Armenian yard-long cucumber. This has now officially become our favourite cucumber. So in the past, I've always grown Marketmore cucumbers. They've always done really well here. We've grown them outside very successfully, even with our cruddy soil and weather. They just seem to be really easy to grow. And then I started experimenting. I'm not a fan of like the white cucumbers. They always seem to end up really bitter for us for some reason. And I don't know why, again, probably down to soil, nutrition, whatever. But yeah, I've passed up on the white cucumbers. We had like White Wonder and a couple of others I tried, and they were all absolutely disgusting for us. I did a couple of pickling cucumbers. I can't remember what they're called, like piccolo something or other. I don't know. It's like a pickling gherkin type cucumber. You're only supposed to let them get that big before you pick them. And they were tasty, but again, like it was a bit like if you don't harvest them exactly when they need to be harvested, they get really big and seedy, and then you have to deal with that if you're going to eat them or pickle them, because I really like pickled cucumbers. I love pickled cucumbers. I love pickled anything really. But yeah, pickled cucumbers are exceptionally delicious. But yeah, so if you don't pick them exactly when they need to be picked, they get kind of seedy and unpleasant. So, and you can pickle the Marketmores just fine. You can pickle these yard longs just fine, which I've done. And the yard long can get really, really big and they don't get overly seedy. The Marketmore gets a little bit seedy, we find, but not overly. Like they have to get quite big if they're going to be like really seedy. But yeah, these yard-long cucumbers, oh my goodness, I don't know what I've done with the packet. Where's the packet? No, there they are, I put them back in. No, I didn't. Oh, I found my kale. There we go. I've lost my cucumbers and I found my kale instead. Goodness, what is wrong with me? It really does sum me up, doesn't it? Absolute scatterbrain. I thought I put it on there. Did it slide down? I don't know. I'll find it eventually. But yes, the yard-long cucumbers, they are delicious tasting. We grew them in the greenhouse. I think they do need to be grown under glass. They were super easy, super no fuss. They seem to enjoy our vast quantities of horse manure that we can offer them, so that's a bonus. And they're just so tasty. Like, it's a really easy cucumber. Like, they absolutely upstaged the Marketmore. So I think I will grow some Marketmore next year, just because I don't want to have like our entire crop based on one variety, because, you know, it's always a bit risky doing the whole monoculture thing. But I think I'm definitely going to put more of my focus on the yard longs from now on, because they are delicious. But yes, I found my kale seeds at last. So I got the emerald ice, apparently, and I thought I got the other one as well. I can't remember what it's called. I think it has all different names. Like, it's just like the traditional big green leafy curly kale, like the stuff. Oh, there you go. Nero di Toscana, apparently. Black Tuscan kale. That one. So that seems to be like the most common one, and I get it because it is delicious. And again, this grows really well here, so I want to grow loads of this. Definitely want to grow loads of this. Yeah. And we could put other stuff growing around the base of this stuff, like the radishes and the beets and things like that. Or even grow salad underneath them, maybe. That could work. I'm just really trying to think of ways to maximise the use of my space. And I still haven't found what I've done with my little cucumber seeds. I think they've gone on a little adventure and I've lost them. I mean, they'll turn up somewhere. They can't have gone far. Honestly, what is wrong with me? Carrots, yeah, we got loads of carrots in here, so here's one. What have I got? Oh, I just got a rainbow mix. I got rainbow mix carrots. So I wasn't fussed particularly on the short stubby ones, just because you don't get a lot of carrot for your efforts. I think I had one called Atlas, which I purchased because I thought, okay, it's like a short little round chubby carrot. And I thought, okay, that's going to be really good for clay soil because it doesn't have to like go down deep in the soil. But I don't know, like I said, they were a bit something and nothing. Like, they tasted fine. They were just, it tasted like a carrot, but it was just a bit disappointing when you pull it up and get like this tiny little nub of a chubby carrot. It was just like, oh, what a proper carrot, you know? So I think probably my favourites are the weird colour ones, actually. I really like the Yellowstone. I really like the Cosmic Purple. As far as like your traditional orange carrots go, I don't know, I think I've had the Amsterdam Forcing and what's the other one? The Autumn King, I think I've probably done best around here. My goodness, I actually remembered my carrot varieties. Wow. But like I said, I don't really love any of them enough to be massively picky. Like, I'm only going to grow that one carrot. So I just went for the rainbow mix in the end. So most of those varieties are going to be in there. They're a lot of the common ones. Oh yeah, there we go. I got my Autumn King there as well. I remembered something. I'm impressed with that. This was something different that I was going to try. That is the giant radish, the mooli. I've seen them loads of times and I've been curious. I really like white radish. So we had an experiment with the radish a few years ago. I've done all sorts of different radishes. There is one variety I will never touch again, not in a million years, and that is the Spanish black radish. Oh, God. Oh, it was so bad. We couldn't even get our pig to eat it. Like, grew loads of these black radishes. And I saw them and I was like, oh, that's so cool, black radish. We have to grow the black radish because, you know, black vegetables, awesome. And it was disgusting. It was so disgusting. None of us could eat them. We couldn't get the pig to eat them. In the end, we chucked them all on the muck heap and they just slowly rotted away. Like, just, they were awful. Tried loads of the other, like, different colour ones. I couldn't tell you what varieties there are. And they're all a bit, like, samey, like, other than them being slightly different colours. I think the best ones really are the French breakfast. And I got another variety in here. There's, like, the icicle, I think they're called, something like that. I think I have a packet in here, but I don't know. Now, somewhere in that other bag, I've got a packet of the icicle. I'm sure they're called icicle radish. And then these, I assume, are going to be like a giant version of that. So it's another white radish. Yeah, I'm really curious to try these because I do like radish, but it is disappointing how small they are. Like, I thought this would be fun. So I'm going to have a go at growing mooli this year. I thought that would be different. I've just realised I've got some peppers here as well. No, that's broccoli. That's not a pepper. That's a pepper. So I've got some sweet peppers. Peppers, I think we're only going to grow in the greenhouse this year. I'm going to try not to get too carried away. So I had these 3 plants in here this year. These were the only 3 that actually survived. I think one was a bell pepper and 2 were those lovely long red sweet peppers, one of which is just kind of dying on the plant. I'm actually really impressed that these plants are still alive in here. Like, I thought the frosts would have killed them by now, but I don't know, I'm awfully tempted to put some fleece over them, like prune them back really hard and put some fleece over them and see if I can carry them through the winter. Because, yeah, that would be really cool if we could have like established really big pepper plants ready for next year. Because obviously peppers can take quite a while to get going, especially in our country where you don't get an awful lot of sunlight and heat. They can be really slow going. So I have overwintered peppers before. We did it in the house, but we ended up taking a load of insects in the house with us, and I don't want to do that again. So if I'm going to do it, it's going to have to be in the greenhouse. I have got somewhere, she says, I have got somewhere a big roll of agricultural fleece. So yeah, I might do that later, actually. That could be a good idea. But yeah, I've got a few different pepper varieties to try. Mostly it's like sweet peppers we eat. I do want to try and grow some jalapenos though, and maybe, what did I grow a couple of years ago? Was it cayenne or paprika? I think I tried both. I think it was only the cayenne pepper that grew though. I don't think the paprika made it. But I really want sweet peppers more than anything, and then I think I would really like to just get the jalapeno peppers growing. I'm getting quite a taste for them lately, which is unlike me because I historically hate spicy food. And yeah, all of a sudden my taste buds have changed and I'm all about that spicy food. So yeah, we'll have, I would say, no more than half a dozen pepper plants. I am going to have to be mindful of space. But yeah, it's nice to have a few peppers. Onions. I don't normally grow onions from seeds, actually. So I got these. So these are exhibition onions. These are giant onions. I was gifted a couple of giant onions, and oh my goodness, they were amazing. They were so big. The one we had was 2 kilos. I think the biggest one we were given was 2 kilos, and they were not his biggest ones. He had bigger ones that he put in the competition. So for novelty's sake, that's awesome, but also they kept really well. Like, they'll keep all winter. They don't go hollow or soggy or weird or anything like that, like some of the other onion varieties we've had have done. And also they tasted really nice. Like, they were really flavorful, but quite sweet, which was very, very nice. So I'm going to have a go at growing those. I need to figure out when I need to start those seeds, actually, because I know the frosts can interfere with onions. Like, if they get a frost at the wrong time, then they'll just kind of like bolt and try to go to flower. So I need to do a little bit of research into that. I said, normally I get onion sets. I have got onion sets ordered that are going to be here in a couple of months' time, ready to plant. I can't remember what the name of them is, but they're like a really flat, it's a white onion. They're like a really flat, fat, delicious onion. It almost tastes like something you get on a burger van. They're delicious. They're so amazing. Like I said, can't remember what they're called. I'll have to find out and write it on the screen for you guys. But I think that's probably going to be our only 2 onions this year. Like, we've done loads of other onions before, like red onions, mixed red onions and mixed white onions and brown and whatever else. But none of the other varieties have been anywhere near as good as these 2 that we've had. So we're only going to do the 2 onion varieties. Plus, like I said, I did have somewhere that I've lost. I've got some like Welsh onions, spring onions that I'm going to have a go at doing as well. So yeah, onions are definitely on the grow list. Parsnips, I've got some parsnip seeds in here. I have a weird thing with parsnips around here. So I don't know why. I don't know if other people's parsnips grow like this, but my parsnips seem to do nothing. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of summer, massive green bushy things will appear out of the soil, literally out of nowhere. And there will be like a 6-inch root underneath it that's like that big. But there was no greenery prior to it. So I don't really understand how these roots are growing without any greenery. It makes no sense. I don't understand it at all. But yeah, there's just this, parsnips grow weird here. And they don't seem to come up when they're supposed to come up. They always seem to come up like 6 months later than they should. But I mean, they do come up and they're delicious when they do come up. But yeah, I'm definitely going to grow some parsnips. Not going to lie, my method for growing parsnips has become a little bit crazy because growing them has proven to be somewhat erratic here. I will tend to just throw a handful in wherever I've got a gap, and then as other stuff comes out and they eventually decide to grow, they just kind of like fill in the gaps gradually. But yeah, they grow really weird, but they are so tasty. That's the only variety I'm going to bother growing from now on. I have tried a few others, so that's the tender and true parsnip. Again, some of the other ones were a bit woody, some of them were a bit nubby and disappointing, but you get like a really decent sized root with these, and they keep pretty well. They don't keep for a crazy amount of time, but they keep pretty well, and they're very tasty, and they're very delicious. And what else have I got in my bag? Oh, I got some leeks as well, I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, so I was going to try and grow some leeks also. I don't know. So a couple of years ago, I kind of like did this crazy companion planting thing, and everything was a bit hickory-pickory in here, there and everywhere. And then last year I tried to do a more organized garden and kind of like section stuff and do it in rows and like, you know, be like a proper gardener, like have areas for stuff. And I don't know, it was just the worst gardening year ever. Obviously the rats made it a lot worse, but it was just a really bad gardening year. And I think, do you know what, next year I'm going to go back to just doing my higgledy-pickledy weird own style of gardening. And I think my onions and my garlic, my leeks, I think I'm just going to intercrop them around other stuff. In fact, what I did initially, before I decided I should be a more grown-up gardener and do everything in neat little areas, what I used to do is I used to put onions and garlic around the perimeter of all of my beds. And some people say, oh no, you can't do that because certain plants won't grow next to other plants. Like beans, I think. I'm sure people say that beans and onions don't grow together. I never had a problem. Like I've grown beans and onions right next to each other, and neither of them were stunted in any way, shape or form. So I don't know if there's anything in that. Maybe I got lucky, but my garden was way healthier when I was doing stuff like that. So I think I'm going to go back to doing that kind of thing this year. Rather than having sections, I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of everything here, there and everywhere. And I feel like having the garlic and the onions around all of my garlic beds acted as like a bit of a pest barrier as well. So I'm going to go back to doing that next year, definitely. So leeks, onions and garlic, there's just going to be like all over the place, just around every single border, I think. But it worked for me. It'll look pretty. Don't worry, guys. It will look pretty eventually. I bet there's some people out there thinking, oh, you guys are crazy, but it will work. I still haven't found that bag of cucumber seeds that I put down somewhere and I've never seen again. Oh yeah, there's some more purple sprouting. We've already talked about that. Oh, I put it back in the bag apparently. That was good of me, wasn't it? Oh dear. What else have I got in here? Beetroot. I can't remember if we talked about beetroot, but I am slightly obsessed with beetroot. I love beetroot. There's not any particular variety of beetroot that I love or hate, because basically I just love all of them. Like I've never had a bad beetroot. So I've got all sorts of different random beetroots, golden ones, white ones, dark red ones, stripy ones. There's all sorts that I've got. I'm going to be growing loads of them. Again, I'm probably going to use them as gap fillers. Like if I've got space, I'll just chuck a few seeds in. Same as with the carrots and the parsnips. Just chuck a few seeds in where I've got spaces. And I'll do the same thing with the radishes as well. They'll end up being gap fillers, which they're actually quite a good gap filler, the radish, because they grow so fast. What else have I got in here? So I've got myself some mixed lettuce as well. Again, with the lettuce, I've never really found a variety that I particularly love over any of the others. I feel like lettuce is lettuce. Maybe there are some really, really good ones, but we've not found a bad one yet anyway. So I tend to just get the mixed loose leaf lettuce. We don't tend to do heading lettuces. Stuff that heads tends to get slug problems around here. We've got like heavy clay, damp soil that does stay damp for a lot of the year. And so we have a heavy slug and snail population. So anything that grows a head tends to get a little bit trashed by them. So loose leaf does a lot better. And I was experimenting this year with doing loose leaf lettuce in hanging baskets to keep them up and clean, which worked well, but I need to find a better compost. And I think I need to set up maybe some kind of like makeshift irrigation system, because they were drying out ridiculously quickly, even in the cruddy summer we had this year. But that was definitely good in principle. It just needs tweaking. So we're going to grow loads of lettuce, lots of lovely greenery. What have we not talked about yet? I'm trying to think. We've done our cucumbers and our melons, peppers. Oh, tomatoes. I'm talking about tomatoes. Did I not buy any more tomato seeds? Oh, my goodness. I probably stopped myself from buying any more tomato seeds. I wonder if there's any in here, in this first bag. Oh, goodness. I bought peas. Why did I buy peas? So peas are actually something that I kind of decided I wasn't going to bother growing again. Maybe I bought those before I made that decision. I mean, I can still put them out as like a gap filler, but I don't know. I just don't... They're a bit something and nothing. Like, unless you grow loads of them, you don't really get enough to had a decent harvest, and I don't feel like I want to give that much space to them, really. Yeah, I've got a lot of peas here. Whoops. That's fine. I'll find somewhere to grow them. Got some runner beans. I really am confused. I thought I bought some extra tomato seeds, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I stopped myself. White icicle radish. No. Mysterious. No, okay. Well, I'm guessing then I must have sorted them all already. So this is all my cherry tomatoes in here, and I do have another box, which is like beef tomatoes. Yeah, that one. Okay, yeah, I think I've just sorted them all and put them all in the boxes already because there's unopened packets in here. Okay. So yeah, I need to change that label. So I've got 2 boxes for my tomatoes, my cherry tomatoes, my beef tomatoes. I'm not going to lie, I'm just going to go to town with them, but I'm going to try and rein it in. I am going to try and rein it in. I think I'm going to do more big tomatoes this year than cherry tomatoes, actually, because you get so many cherry tomatoes off a single plant anyway. Like, I kind of, as long as I've got like one of each colour, I think I'll be happy. So I have like a yellow one, a red one, and like a black one. I think trying maybe like keep it at that 3 bushes, and I will be very happy. It's not going to happen, is it? Let's face it. I'm going to plant way too many. I'm just looking on there as well, aubergine. Not actually going to bother trying to grow aubergine again, I don't think. I've tried it a few times. We have successfully grown aubergine both outdoors, surprisingly, and in this greenhouse. But we just haven't really eaten it. Like, I've still got a bag of frozen aubergine in my freezer from like 2 years ago that we've still yet to consume. Like, I feel like we go through the odd phase where we'll eat loads of it. Like, you can make that nice, there's like a dipping sauce you can make with it. I can't remember what it's called. It's like aubergine and loads of garlic and stuff. I don't know. I learned to make it when I worked at like a Greek food place. I can't remember what it's called though, but I mean, that's really tasty, but I don't very often get the urge to eat aubergine. And so, I don't know, I don't feel like it's worth dedicating a space to it. So like I said, I'm really just going to try and dedicate my space to stuff that I know we're going to eat. And that is basically going to be beetroots, carrots, we'll do some cabbages. Probably going to concentrate more on the kales than the cabbages. Like I said, just because we do get the issues with heading plants and slugs, loose leaf stuff does do better. Probably do some like spring greens as well, or collards, I think they're called. That's a nice like halfway. It's basically like a cabbage leaf anyway. So I'll probably do some of those. Definitely do the broccolis, the sproutings. We'll have lots of carrots, parsnips, beetroots. We'll do a few radishes. I'm going to do a few little spinach plants here, there, and everywhere, just to, like, not too much spinach. I think we don't eat tons of it. Swedes, we will grow a few Swedes, but again, I don't want too many because, like, we like them, but we don't eat a ton of them. I don't think I'm going to bother with turnips, though. Like, I've got a Swede and turnip box. I don't think I'm going to bother with the turnips. Just, all we ever really do is just put them in the occasional stew, but we're more of a Swede people than a turnip people, I think. So I'm going to pump the brakes on the turnips for this year. Definitely no aubergine, definitely no broad beans. I'm not going to bother with the peas. Definitely going to do pumpkins. We have to have pumpkins. Definitely doing cucumbers, definitely doing melons, definitely doing tomatoes. Lots of tomatoes and peppers. A little bit of salad, and I will, of course, I have got some flowers here. I've not got many flowers left in my little box. I need to get some more flowers. We'll do loads of flowers around the garden as well for the pollinators. Is that everything I've got? I think that's everything I've got. Oh, and we'll grow loads of runner beans as well, but not bush beans. Definitely not bush beans. Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're going to be at for next year. I've got a lot to cram in my little garden, and I've also got a lot of work to do out there before I can do any gardening. I mean, so I was really, really hoping to get this space done before Christmas, but I am recording this video like mid-December, and we've still yet to do anything in here. I mean, to be fair, it's not going to take that much work. I mean, the greenhouse floor is going to take a fair bit of work because we've got to cut some of the stones to fit some of the slabs because of the dimensions of the greenhouse versus the dimensions of the slabs that we got. So that is going to take a little bit of work, but not a ton of work. The garden beds, again, like, they're not going to take a ton of work to put together. I mean, we put that prototype bed. I knew I missed a word there. We put that prototype bed together like fairly quickly. I mean, we did do a significant amount of bickering, but me and Ian always bicker when we work together anyway. It's kind of like a weird functional thing we do. But I mean, it's not an overly complicated thing to put together. I would say the biggest problem is actually me making a definitive decision on where I want things, which I think I've done now. I have changed my mind slightly on the layout of the garden out here. So initially we were going to have the beds running that way. I have since changed my mind and we're going to have all the beds running this way, like that way. So there's probably going to be 3 beds. So basically that bed on the end out there is basically going to stay, if you can even see it through the muggy greenhouse. I really need to wash this greenhouse, my goodness. So yeah, that bed on the end is going to stay, but it'll get a bit shorter. So there'll be a bed along the back where those sheds are and where the fence is. There'll be a long bed all the way along there. Then the chickens will be down off that way. And then there's going to be 3 beds going that way, like that. And what we can do is, I feel like we can maximise our space by doing that, because we can have a slightly wider path at this end for access, so we can get compost in the beds. But then we can have slightly narrower paths in the middle, so I feel like we can maximise our bed width, and maybe have a slightly wider path at that end. That end's already got a wide enough path to get a wheelbarrow in and out anyway. So yeah, I just feel like that's probably going to maximise the amount of planting space I end up with. So yeah, I had a little bit of a moment and I was like, yeah, that's how we're going to do it. We're doing that now. And it, like, you know, when you have an idea and it just kind of like feels like it's the right idea, like you'll kind of like brainstorm stuff and you're not quite sure on it. And then all of a sudden you have a light bulb moment. It's like, yeah, that's the idea. That's how it's going to work. It was kind of like that when I thought of that. And I was like, yeah, that feels like that's how the garden's going to end up being. So yeah, hopefully by the next video, we might actually be getting this greenhouse sorted. I mean, I really want to get my butt in here and clean it, to be fair. There's no excuse for me having not cleaned it yet. I can get it cleaned. I've got a few bits and bobs that I can be putting up in here, which I'm not going to tell you about because I don't want to spoil the surprise, because you'll get to see that hopefully in the next video. But there's a few bits and bobs I want to put up in here. And I can do all of that regardless of whether or not the floor is done. I'm just kind of like procrastinating, really. I'm just doing that thing that people do. It's kind of, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, that's what I'm going to be growing in my garden next year. I do have a slight seed hoarding problem, I'm not going to lie. But like I said, a lot of what's in these boxes is going to be going, not necessarily in the bin, but into a separate baggie with a big fat question mark on it, because I don't want to rely on those seeds. And I am going to be pulling out my many bags of peas that I somehow purchased. Or should I mean, they're good till September 2025. Well, they'll be good longer than that, obviously, but it's recommended you plant them by September 2025. I don't know, maybe I'll have to double check this variety. Usually when I buy peas, I buy the ones that you overwinter. So maybe I could keep these for now and just put them in a box somewhere. And maybe I could like overwinter some peas next year. Obviously I don't want to this year because everything out there is going to be getting ripped up and trampled on and built on. So I'm really hoping I can dig up my broccoli, actually, thinking about that. I want to save my like ancient purple sprouting broccoli plant and see if we can put it in one of the new raised beds. It's like the matriarch of the garden at this point, isn't it? So yeah, that's where we're at. Haven't made much progress, but I did buy some more seeds and that makes me feel better. So yeah, I'll see you guys in our next video, guys, and hopefully we might have had a break for the weather and we might have actually made a little bit of progress out here. See you then. Bye.